Welcome to the NZ Travel Show, an interactive show where you can ask your NZ travel questions to the experts behind nzpocketguide.com, New Zealand's largest travel guide. The NZ Travel Show will start in exactly 2 minutes. Just the time for you to hit the like button, ring the notification bell, and subscribe if you have not done so yet. nzpocketguide.com has over 3,000 articles covering all aspects of travelling in New Zealand, from a working holiday gap year to tips for a perfect family holiday. The site also features dozens of pre-made itineraries that you can use to plan your ideal trip in New Zealand. It's all available for free at nzpocketguide.com, so check it out. The NZ Travel Show is hosted by Robin, the Operations Manager of South Pacific Pocket Guide, the company behind nzpocketguide.com. The New Zealand Travel Show is also hosted by Laura, a journalist and editor-in-chief of South Pacific Pocket Guide and all its publications, including nzpocketguide.com. We're exactly 1 minute away from the NZ Travel Show. Get yourself comfortable and start asking your NZ travel questions in the chat. Robin and Laura will go over them when the show starts. In 30 seconds, our experts will be live from New Zealand to give you all the practical New Zealand travel tips you need, from the best transport options to the best accommodations and activities to choose for the perfect New Zealand holiday. Live from New Zealand, this is the NZ Travel Show with your travel experts, Robin and Laura.
Good morning from New Zealand, everybody. It is a Sunday, the 10th of March 2024. It is 8 a.m. right here in beautiful Aotearoa, New Zealand. And we are here to answer all your questions about traveling in New Zealand because this is the NZ Travel Show. The way this show works is that you can ask us all your questions in the live chat and we'll answer all your questions to the best of our knowledge, of course, because we are the team behind NZ Pocket Guide, which is New Zealand's largest travel guide. So if you want some guidance, if you want to bounce some ideas with us about your upcoming trip to New Zealand, well, this is the best place to do so. But we also have a theme every week where we kind of cover a specific subject that we talk about in between questions. But first up, how are we feeling today, Laura?
Fan-dabby-dozy.
Fan-dabby-dozy. That is the words. That's the word and a half.
How are you feeling?
Absolutely fabulous. I'm really happy that Rick is here. He says,
yes.
hey ho, long time no see. How are you doing, Laura and Rob? We're doing awesome. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's been a while. You've been working in weekends, I'm guessing. But we're glad to have you on board, my friend. How's the planning for your trip going? We also have Elise Prince Will saying, please, I am waiting for your response from you guys. To what? Happy to answer any questions, but we'll probably need you to actually give us the question in writing, maybe in the live chat right here, but maybe quite handy, so we can answer it for you. We also have Anthony Comstock saying,
Morena from Rodeo, California.
Laura, what does Morena means?
It means good morning in the Maori language. Te reo Maori.
Indeed. All right, so let's get started with our little theme of the week while you guys are coming up with your questions. And as we are taking you to beautiful Mount Maunganui near Tauranga, we are going to be talking about the biggest cities of New Zealand. So cities may not be the first thing you come to your mind when you are planning your trip to New Zealand. There is, everything to do with natural landscapes, beautiful wildlife, and all that good stuff. But New Zealand also boasts some awesome city life, and well, there are some cities of decent sizes, and then amongst the top 15 cities in New Zealand. There is also some cities which are in much smaller size. So we'll go cover all of that. Plus, we'll have one honorable mention, and you'll understand why very shortly. And that's what we're going to be doing in this video. We'll cover all the 15 largest cities of New Zealand, give you a few tips, things to do there, and a few understanding about what they are. And we'll see ourselves paddleboarding. I guess the camera is on the paddleboard right now.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Judging by the, I don't know, the side angle going on occasionally.
Indeed. All right, without further ado, sorry, let's get started. Okay, Laura, New Zealand's largest city comes to no surprise. It is Auckland, with 1.7 million people living there. And that said, it is not New Zealand's capital city. A lot of people actually make this mistake. So it's probably your biggest port of entry, yes, but not the capital city.
Yeah, so Auckland is, like Roman says, the largest city in New Zealand, with around 1.7 million people.
Million people.
It's located sort of towards the north of the North Island. It's not the northernmost region, but it's actually the second northernmost region of New Zealand. And it's famous landmarks of the city include the Sky Tower, which is the tallest building in the Southern Hemisphere. Is that correct? Is that still the case?
Yeah, I mean, they still boast that. They haven't removed the sign. I'm not sure if it's still relevant. It's one of the things that changes so often because they keep on outdoing each other.
Yeah. So another thing about Auckland is that it is full of volcanic cones. So you can, in fact, go for, if you're going for your city park walk, it may well be on top of an extinct volcano, which is quite cool. It's also on the shores of the Hauraki Gulf, which is the basically the body of water just next to Auckland, and there is also various volcanic islands to explore.
Plus, the Hauraki Gulf is home to amazing seabirds, whales, dolphins,
which is quite cool. You can do whale tours out there. So really, Auckland has quite a lot of diverse experiences. That's what makes the city so cool.
Nice. All right, so next up on our list, we have Wellington, which is New Zealand's capital city. It's about 500,000 people, so 542,000 people at the latest survey.
Mm-hmm. Yes, so like Roman says, it's the capital city. It's also home to attractions such as Te Papa Museum, which is the National Museum of New Zealand. It also has even a wildlife sanctuary pretty much in the city centre, almost in the city centre, Zealandia. It is also a harbourside city, like most of New Zealand cities, so there are water activities to be had, the odd kayaking tour here and there, but also the surrounding region has beautiful regional parks which you can explore. It's also known for its movie making industry, so home of the Weta Workshop, and obviously a lot to do with the making of the Lord of the Rings, and lots of digital effects for more later movies, more
like Avatar,
the Avengers, all that sort of thing. So yeah, there's a lot of things to discover in the capital city of Wellington.
Okay, and rounding up the top three, which are basically three, spoiler for the rest of the list, the three largest cities by far, and then there's a sharp drop down. We have Christchurch. Christchurch, located on the South Island, and is home to 396,200 people at the latest survey.
Yeah, so Christchurch is located on the east coast of the South Island, approximately midway through the South Island. And the city is famous for actually being quite flat compared to the other cities.
Yes, that's true, actually.
But that's not really the main reason to go visit.
Christchurch, we're flat.
It's also known as the Garden City, so it has lots of beautiful gardens. Most famously, right in the city centre is Hagley Park, which has the Botanic Gardens on the premises, as well as the Canterbury Museum, which at the time of recording has moved to a pop-up museum as they are doing the restructure of the building, but it should be back there at some point, relevant for the rest of our viewers. So yeah, Christchurch also is famous for its tramway line. So you can visit around the city centre in a kind of quirky, different way compared to other New Zealand cities. It has a couple of more interesting museums, like the Air Force Museum, that sort of thing. And then on the outskirts of Christchurch, you'll find the Port Hills, where if you're more into nature or hiking or stunning views, then that is the place to go, the Port Hills. So yeah, that is Christchurch in a nutshell.
All right, so that wraps up our top three. We have many more to come, but spoiler alert, it's a sharp drop. Okay, before that, let's head back to the live chat. We have Adil that says, Kia ora, Robin, Laura, and all the viewers. I missed the Sandfly show last week, but I did watch part of the repeat. Regarding that topic, I have a couple of questions. Yeah, go for it, mate. As per usual, put it in the live chat. We'll be here for you. We also have Rick, which Rick actually is going to be probably staying. It's at Mount Montgomery right here. What's on video right here, as it's you know, the accommodation we were talking about, Rick. That's literally very close to what we're filming right here, which is quite fun. So Rick's saying, yeah, he's working a lot, but tomorrow is going to be his day off, so he will start to do some of his to-do list, preparing for his trip to New Zealand. He's also mentioning that it's going to be quite weird coming from the biggest city of Europe with 3.5 million citizens to a city less than 2 million. Well, especially if you move to Tauranga, you know, it's less than 200,000. So yeah, that's going to be very, very, very small. But yeah, 3.5 million citizens. It's almost the size of New Zealand. We are about. Are we 5 million?
7?
No, we
6 million?
no, we were 4 for the longest time. I think we're going on to 5.
Oh, okay. I thought we were.
Let's have a look.
Yeah, let's have a look.
Yeah, we're 5 right now. 5 million.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we were 4 for like quite a while, and then boom. So yeah, no, yeah, that's definitely going to be quite the major difference. But it does feel empty in some sort of ways, New Zealand, right? You always have a sense of like, oh, you got the whole place to yourself. Or
Yeah.
you know, there's never, you know, in rare times when you have a little bit of traffic, right? We're talking, you know, 10 minutes delay, not really that much, but it feels weird because obviously you get accustomed as a human. You know, we went to Auckland. You know that you're on Patreon. You saw it on Facebook. So we went to Auckland during the week, and we encountered New Zealand style traffic, right? Which was probably like a 5-minute delay at most, right? But you know, straight away it's kind of like, oh no, I can't believe there's
Yeah,
traffic.
because
Right?
we are so unaccustomed to it. We
Yeah.
think that as soon as you hit some sort of traffic, we're like, what is this madness?
Yeah, but you know, in all truth, that's pretty much no traffic, and nobody compared to a lot of other places where we
Yeah.
both lived, right? You know, I lived in like Hong Kong and you know, San Francisco, those New York, those kind of places. It's nothing. It's absolutely it's nothing.
Yeah.
But you get accustomed to your comfort of never having anyone else on the road.
I know, and it's the same for like a big British grievance is queuing for things, like having to, you know, wait in line to go to the post office or wait in line to go and do anything you want to do. But in New Zealand, you sometimes have 2 people in front of you at the supermarket, and that's it. And that's the only time I can think of when there is like you have to queue for something. I suppose sometimes when they're feeling a bit slow at the post office, you might have to wait for the one person in front of you.
Yeah, I was like, oh, if you go to the doctor's office, but it's kind of like a waiting room, you never, you know, it's normal, kind of, it doesn't
Yeah,
feel
that's
like
more of an
queuing,
appointment, like people have booked
Yeah.
appointments there. So yeah, it's just like, it's, I feel like I have experienced far less queuing in this country compared to...
I'm trying to like picture like when's the last time I queued for, because even when we're taking airplanes, right, you know, you get like those big long line which serpent around before going to the person. Most of the time we kind of like walking all over, and we're like, what's this madness having to walk all that, but you don't really have to wait. So the time we've waited the longest, I'd say, in the last decade is when we're about to take the plane, and you know, you got all tickets and everything, and you go at the airport and you wait for the security stuff, you know, when you have to wait and everybody has to empty the bin and everything. But again, that was, I'd say, 5 to 10 minutes at most.
Yeah.
I was trying to picture in my head, when's the last time we waited the longest?
Yeah.
And I don't think that's... No.
Yeah, it's just not really much of a thing here.
Yeah.
And Rick says luxury.
Yeah, no,
It
that's
is a
true.
luxury.
It very much is, right? Like you rarely wait, like, you know, you go shopping or anything like that. Like for any kind of stores, right, from food or clothing or anything like that, you never really have to queue to talk to the cashier or to do this or to do that, right? It's really good. It's fantastic. Like, yeah, I was just trying to. I was like, I should have a better example. We should have some time we waited longer, but I just can't.
Yeah, I guess the flip side of that is that you do notice that I guess workers in general are actually a bit slower in New Zealand. So they don't have a time pressure. They don't have people like queuing out the door. So when you are going to get some sort of service done, like, you know, your shopping being put through the till or whatever, they take their time. They're just like, beep, beep, having a nice day, beep.
Yeah.
Like just really, like it's a different experience, but it's a nicer sort of, I do think I prefer that sort of slower pace compared to just like everything feeling like a rush and people being all over the place. So yeah, that's just another thing I've noticed is they don't have to go so, like people working don't have to go so crazy and fast.
And also putting a little bit of a caveat to it, like even the city that we're seeing right here is Tauranga, right? So it's still one of the top 5 largest cities. Man, I'm spoiling that list. But we are also living in a relatively rural part of New Zealand. But both Laura and I have spent extensive time in larger towns and cities, including living in Auckland for a long time. And even in Auckland, like Aucklanders will say like they have to queue quite a lot and everything. By the way, we are very poor by the borders. I just want to point that out.
Yeah.
We're really bad at it. But yeah, so Aucklanders will complain as well. It's still very, very minimal compared to a lot of overseas cities, just because we don't have anything comparable. Like Auckland is often branded as like, oh, it's horrible the amount of weight and everything, because for a Kiwi, right, moving from rural New Zealand, it's a big jump, but it's nothing compared to a lot of other places in the Northern Hemisphere, I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, all right. Hey, while Adil is coming up with all his questions about that sandfly stuff, and if you have any questions about traveling New Zealand, go nuts, put them in the comments. In the meantime, we'll talk about a few more cities of New Zealand. Okay, so let's continue this list with number 4. Yes, that's right, the 4th largest city of New Zealand may one day be overtaken by the ever-sprawling Auckland, because it's very close to Auckland. It's Hamilton with 185,300 people at the latest survey.
Yeah, so Hamilton is the hub of the Waikato region, and the Waikato region is the largest region on the North Island and pretty central in the North Island. So Hamilton has a few really cool little attractions of its own. It's particularly the Hamilton Gardens.
It's Sherry's favourite.
Yeah, it's everyone's favourite once they discover it. It's a free attraction of various different themed gardens, which is really cool. Also, it is famous for having the Waikato River going right through the centre of the city, which the Waikato River is the longest river in New Zealand. But it's also a good base for exploring some of the highlights of the North Island. For instance, you can take day trips to Raglan, which is known for its surfing. You can take day trips to Hobbiton and also to the Waitomo Caves to see the glowworms. So yeah, Hamilton has some really cool experiences nearby, and as a city itself, it is also famous for being a student city. So if you're thinking of studying in New Zealand, Hamilton's usually a popular option. But yeah, otherwise it is also, like Robin says, quite close to Auckland, so you don't have to drive too far after you've got out of the plane.
All right, so next up on the list, we have the city in which we currently are showcasing our lack of paddleboarding skills. It's the city of Tauranga with 158,300 people.
Yeah, so Tauranga is a harbour city, once again, another glorious harbour city of New Zealand. And probably more famously known is its suburb of Mount Maunganui, which is known for
That's exactly where we are right now.
Exactly where we are. It's known for its volcanic cone, which is located at the end of sort of a peninsula with 2 beaches on the side. It is quite a nice sort of environment for a city, and yeah, as you can see, you can do lots of water sports around there, like paddleboarding. There's sometimes good surfing to be had from the main beach. There's also Leisure Island, so there's a little offshore island which has a causeway you can just walk up onto, which is pretty cool. And yeah, nearby are some various forest parks where you can visit waterfalls and go hiking in the forests. And then as for the city itself, it has all your usual city services, shops, cafes, all that good stuff. Maybe an escape room here and there. Lots of sculptures, that sort of thing. So yeah, pretty cool city to hang out. It is known to be one of the fastest growing cities in New Zealand. So if you want to be part of the growing of the city, then go hang out there.
All right, so next up on number 6, we have 2 cities which are, well, kind of always grouped together. I think they have the same council and all that. So it's Napier and Hastings with 148,000 people.
Yeah, so like Robin says, this is actually 2 separate towns, but they are so close to each other. and there's lots of settlements in between that they are.
You barely see the difference when you go from one to the other. You don't notice that you went from one to the other.
Yeah, so they are often grouped together. This region is Napier and Hastings is based in the region of Hawke's Bay, which is on the east coast of the North Island. Really known for its good weather, so nice, warm, mostly dry weather. However, they have suffered from a cyclone in recent years, so it's not always rain-free. But when there is an extreme weather events, it usually has a great climate, which is why it is known for being a really good wine-making region. It is actually New Zealand's first wine region, so the first vineyards were planted there.
Oh, fun fact.
Yeah. Again, it's on the coast, so lots of amazing water experiences, beaches to be had, lots of Maori culture as well. So if you want to go on a Maori tour, there is the Waimarama Maori tours nearby. So yeah, lots of diverse things happening there.
All right, we've got more cities to come very shortly. But first, we have Adil coming with this question about the sandflies. He says, you mentioned that the sandflies are found throughout New Zealand. How common are they in major cities such as Auckland? Well, as we mentioned during the video, they usually are close to like the body of water. So it's usually you encounter them more in wild areas, right? Like, when you do a hike and those kind of things, right? In cities themselves, like when walking around Auckland or anything, you highly unlikely to see some flies.
I would say you may, if you're sat in the Auckland Domain or Albert Park and you're sat on the grass, there may be the odd sandfly that you're unlucky to come across, but it's really minimal in Auckland. So that's a good point. Although they are all around New Zealand, again, they are more related. They are more found towards water and beaches, lakes, rivers is where they're most abundant. So if you're in a very built-up urban area, chances are you can avoid them a lot more.
Indeed. And Adil is asking, so his second question was, which bite is worse, sandfly or mosquito?
You get bitten more by mosquitoes. Do you find one more itchy than the other, or... I
think sandflies are worse because also usually when you get one bite of sandfly, you get more than one bite.
Yeah.
While mosquitoes, you get one because the mosquito is stuck in your room overnight. You know what I mean, or something like that, right? But I think sandfly is worse because of the sheer number.
Yeah.
Like quantity-wise, I think that'd be the worst one. But I don't know when it comes down to like transmitting disease or anything. Like, is mosquito worse than sandflies?
Yes. Mosquitoes do transfer diseases, whereas sandflies do not transfer diseases, or there's been no evidence found that they do. So yeah.
What a good segue right here. We're thinking the same thing, you and I love it.
Yeah. So yeah, obviously mosquitoes are worse for if you're in a tropical climate, they may give you dengue fever or that sort of thing, which is quite common. If you get bitten by a sandfly, it just leaves a very itchy bite. So it's kind of annoying. It's just sandflies are more annoying, I'd say.
And so that's why we were mentioning during the video a lot of tips to kind of deal with, when it's itchy and what you can do. Oh, look at me. I'm trying. I'm giving it a shot. Giving it a shot right here, guys. So yes, keep that in mind. And then Rick is saying, a little bit off topic. I have a question on arriving in Auckland by flight. What can I expect arriving at 11 p.m? Will buses still run? Absolutely. 11 p.m. is definitely not that late for when it comes down to a New Zealand arrival. If you remember on our videos where we're walking through the entirety of the Auckland airport, that was probably at like 2 a.m. At night. So we were actually the single last flight for that day. And you can see that everything was still open and still working. So yes, you'll still be able to get buses. You're still able to get shuttles. They do run.
Definitely.
For every flight.
Definitely super shuttles. If you're talking about the Auckland transport buses, as in public transport buses.
No, the Skybus.
The Skybus, I think, that works all night. But yeah, everything to do with actual services for the airport will still run. But just the public transport buses of Auckland that are run by Auckland Transport, they have they have working hours, which is quite normal, like quite early in the morning to usually around, I think, 9 p.m., something like that. So if you're hoping to bus hop all the way into Auckland city centre, that's probably not going to work. But yeah, like Robin says, like Super Shuttle, the Sky Bus, which we keep calling the Sky Bus, but I'm pretty sure they've changed their name now.
It used to be called Airbus Express, then it was called Skybus, and now it's called something else. They
Yeah.
keep changing the only thing they're selling you is a different brand, that's it.
Yeah,
so.
they change their brand like it feels like every couple of years. So
Yeah.
whatever it is now, that should still be operating. Okay,
All right, so should we talk about some more cities, Laura?
absolutely.
All right, so as we continue making our way through Mount Maunganui by paddleboarding, and we finally standing, which is a big success for us, we are going to be talking about more cities of New Zealand. And let's start with Dunedin, the student cities of the South Island. 130,400 people at the latest census.
Yeah, okay, so Dunedin is located on the South Island, on the east coast once again, but further south than Christchurch. It's quite far down south on the South Island. Again, another harbour city, so you can take a boat cruise to see amazing wildlife and all that good stuff. I'd say that one of the huge highlights actually is to do with the wildlife in Dunedin. So Dunedin is right next to a place called the Otago Peninsula, where you can go out there and see penguin colonies, you can see seals, sea lions, royal albatross.
Yeah.
So it's really has like super close proximity to some really amazing wildlife experiences. So if you're a bit of a, love a bit of nature, then it's a good place to base yourself. In terms of the city itself, its city centre is recognisable by the octagon, so it has an octagon-shaped city
Is it Scottish
centre.
inspired, the whole town, or is it?
Yeah. So a lot of its heritage comes, a lot of it's sort of like, the whole town was sort of built by early Scottish settlers, so it has a lot of Scottish influence and heritage, which you can learn more about at its many museums, the Toitu Settlers Museum, which is in the city centre, as well as the Otago Museum. So, and they're both free entry, so it's really, really interesting, good attractions to be had, and also around the city, there's the Otago Central Rail Trail, which is a really famous and easy to do multi-day cycle trail, which you can get a train out from Dunedin to start that rail trail. Like Rowan says, it's famous student city, so it's home to one of the most, I guess, prestigious universities of New Zealand, as well as the steepest street in New Zealand.
Baldwin Street.
Yeah.
All right, so let's head back to the North Island with number 8 on our list, the city of Whangarei, with 101,000 people and also 900 more at the latest census. Whangarei, North Island, just a short drive north of Auckland.
Yeah, so Whangarei is the hub of Northland, which is the northernmost region of New Zealand. It's known for its subtropical climate, which is quite nice. You can experience some nice warm days up there. They have some really nice sort of city centre attractions like the Whangarei Falls, a beautiful
Which is quite rare to have a
waterfalls.
beautiful natural waterfall in the city centre. It's pretty great.
There's also the, which I have to admit doesn't sound too appealing, but it's actually quite cool, which is the Whangarei Quarry Gardens. So this is an old quarry that they've turned into some beautiful subtropical gardens. So it's quite cool as well. And then nearby you have some really beautiful beach areas and really awesome sort of coastal scenery, especially around the Whangarei Heads, going up towards Tutukaka, where you can go and do the Poor Knights Islands, scuba diving, snorkeling, paddleboarding, all that sort of stuff. If you're looking for a more favourable climate, doing a little bit of beach exploring and combined with some nice city centre attractions, also got a few art galleries and quirky art galleries there as well, then Whangarei is your place.
And as a quick note, we do have full travel guide of all those places with best accommodation, best thing to do, etc. It's all in the link in the description of this video. Alright, so moving on, we are now below the 100,000 people in each of the cities, which I know for a lot of people in North America are like, what? How are you even calling that a city? Indeed. But yeah, so our first city, which is under 100,000 people, is at 90,400 people. It is number 9 on the list, and it's Palmerston North.
Yeah, so Palmerston North is the hub of the Manawatu region. So this region is, so on the North Island you have in the centre, you have Waikato, and then just underneath you come towards the Manawatu Whanganui region. So yeah, Palmerston North is part of that. And yeah, the city centre itself, again, highlights is that it is quite flat and it's not on the coast for once. That's pretty different.
Yes, New Zealand is a very coastal kind of country.
Yeah, so get some inland experiences. It's particularly known for the Manawatu River, so they have beautiful cycleways and walkways along the river there. Also nearby is Manawatu Gorge, which is more like native forest walks. You can
Great
go-
whitewater rafting as well.
Oh, and the Manawatu Gorge.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And also Te Apiti Wind Farm. So you could drive up to a wind farm and stand under some windmills, which is pretty cool. What else is there to say about Palmerston North? Great markets, that sort of thing, because
Yeah.
it has a lot of it's in a rural area, so you do get some really good farmers markets there. The town centre is like the what they call the square is quite quirky. It's got this sort of very rectangular clock in the centre. It's got a few statues here and there and pretty gardens. So yeah, it's an interesting city to explore, that's for sure.
Indeed. Okay, we'll have some more cities coming up very soon. But not before reminding you that you guys can ask us your questions about traveling in New Zealand in the live chat. Feel free to make that your own and ask us anything to do with traveling in New Zealand. We're here to help as the team behind New Zealand's largest travel guide. This live show is yours. And also, if you're just joining us, we are currently paddleboarding in Mount Maunganui, which is the most popular suburbs of Tauranga. Yeah, so it's kind of like a cool little paddleboarding trip all around the mount. It's kind of fun. So the mount over there is where you can find locals in their native environments doing their jogging in the morning, you know. So yeah, we decided to take a different approach and take it a little easier. It's also, I think that was our first time paddleboarding, so we were quite bad at it, but you know, that's fine. We survived. Look, I'm standing right now. That wasn't the case for the longest time, so there you go. Cool. So we've mentioned almost 10 cities so far. What's your favorite so far?
My favourite would have to be Dunedin.
Yeah?
I really enjoyed the fact that it's so close to some really amazing wildlife experiences where, when I was living back in the UK, I would watch documentaries about penguins and sea lions and that sort of thing, and being able to just actually live that close to them in Dunedin.
Yeah, if you live in Dunedin, you can be the penguin. That's pretty cool.
Yes, exactly. Penguins are your neighbours in Dunedin, and that is a dream come true for me.
Just makes it for very hard communication when it comes down to go borrowing sugar.
Yeah.
Because, I'm not talking penguin so well.
No, me neither.
All right, shall we do 3 more cities?
Yes, let's do it.
All right, so some more cities which are still large on New Zealand standard are coming right up with New Plymouth at 88,900 people.
Yeah, so New Plymouth, let's get back to the coast, this time on the west coast of the North Island, in the Taranaki region. New Plymouth is the biggest city there. Again, what are cities known for? Beautiful gardens, and New Plymouth has plenty. Pukekura Park, I think it's called, is really stunning. There's also lots of really beautiful murals that you can find all over the buildings around the city as well. So it's very artsy. It's a very artsy city. It's home to the Lenlai Centre, the Govert Brewster Art Gallery, which has some very
unmissable, so shiny.
Yes. Very shiny building, you will not miss it. Also has its own regional museum as well. A highlight of New Plymouth that everyone should do is do the New Plymouth Coastal Walkway, which has lots of interesting sights to see, some sculptures from its local artists. You can also cycle the walkway as well. It's got the Te Rewa Bridge, which is pretty cool. Yeah, New Plymouth is really awesome. Nearby is Mount Taranaki too, so if you want to take a day trip out to Mount Taranaki, do the famous Pukaiki Tarns walk. Am I getting that right? Probably
Yes.
not. But yeah, do the Tarns walk. Yeah, lots of really beautiful Mount Taranaki hiking to be done nearby.
All right, so next up on our list, we have a city that's coming at 11, and I think that's going to surprise a lot of people because it's so bloody famous, and yet it's so low on our list. So with 76,800 people, we have Rotorua.
Yeah, believe it or not, Rotorua is a city. I think that was the thing that surprised me the most.
Oh,
was
really?
like, is this a city? Because it actually just feels like a town. But yeah, Rotorua is in fact a city. It is a city in the Bay of Plenty region, so located actually pretty central in the North Island. But of course, it is most famous for one, its geothermal activity, and second of all, for the Maori culture, which is present there. There's a lot of Maori shows and stuff based out of Rotorua. So that's probably its most famous things, but it's also known for its mountain biking scene. So there's loads of mountain biking parks, particularly in the Whakawira forest. It's got just uncountable amount of trails there. It's really insane. Uncountable.
She doesn't have enough fingers to count them all.
I can't count them, but there's so many. So yeah, Rotorua is really a happening place with lots of attractions, a lot of things going on. Whether you're just wanting to visit or base yourself there on a working holiday, yeah, Rotorua is pretty cool. We do enjoy Rotorua.
All right, so from the heart of the Maori culture to the bottom of the South Island, we have Invercargill at number 12 on our list with 56,800 people.
Yes, so Invercargill is the southernmost city of New Zealand, and they will remind you of that constantly as you visit.
Is there one claim of fame?
Everything you see, every attraction you see will be the southernmost.
Something.
So yeah, that's what Invercargill is all about. They do have their own quirky regional culture there. They are famous for their Southland cheese rolls, which is well, I'll leave that for you guys to discover on your own. Don't get your hopes up way too high, but, give it a try. When you go to a cafe, ask for a Southland cheese roll and just be amazed. But yeah, Invercargill, of course, it's a city. It's got some beautiful gardens. Queen's Park is the main garden there, but nearby you do have lots of really awesome sort of road trips to discover. You can head out to the Catlins. You can even take a plane to Stewart Island from Invercargill. So yeah, and just it as the southernmost city, it's also a bit chilly, so everyone take a jacket.
Wow. All right, we're gonna have some more cities coming very soon. I like the extra tips you leave in there. I like it.
You just like the way that I just end it abruptly.
All right. Yeah. So, wow, you guys are all very quiet. We'll do 3 more and then we'll wrap up these shows. If nobody has any question, it'd be all right. That's an easy morning for us. It's not too bad. It's Sunday after all, so people are letting us relax, which I like.
Yeah, let's have a lazy Sunday this Sunday.
All right, so number 13, unlucky 13 on our list, we have a city of 54,500 people, and that's Nelson.
Yeah, Nelson. So this is a city located at the north of the South Island. Despite being on the South Island, do not be fooled, it's actually quite a nice climate up there. It's nice and warm. It's mainly a dry climate. So again, this is a good city to base yourself in if you do like a bit of nice weather. So yeah, what Nelson is sort of known for, it's again a very artsy environment. It's got the World of Wearable Art Museum, the Car Museum. It's got lots of markets. It's got the Pix Peanut Butter World, so you can go and see how peanut butter is made. Beautiful gardens, Trafalgar Square. They kind of stole that from somewhere. And yeah,
London, did I?
but also around Nice impression. Also around Nelson, it is close to 3 national parks, which is great if you're into hiking and getting out in nature. So you're near the Nelson Lakes National Park, you're near the Kahurangi National Park, and finally you're near Abel Tasman National Park.
Which are 3 of the absolute best places for hiking. If you're into hiking and wildlife and all that, you are going to be mind blown.
Yeah, so Nelson is, thumbs up in my book.
Thumbs up in the book. Okay, so number 14 on your list, we have the city of Gisborne with 52,100 people.
Yeah, so Gisborne, we're going back up onto the North Island now, on the east coast of the North Island. Again, beautiful, dry, sunny climate. Also known for its winemaking region, so you can visit a fair few wineries while you're in there. They also have a lot of people that are into their craft breweries, so you can do lots of beer tasting up there as well. It is particularly famous for its festival that they have there every New Year's Eve / New Year's Day, which is the Rhythm and Vines Festival. And yeah, also great for its surfing. So even its main beaches right in the city centre, you can enjoy some really good surfing there. So yeah, obviously, if you love surfing, it is a no-brainer. Otherwise, got some great museums, art galleries. Did I mention the wine and beer? That's pretty much Gisborne in a nutshell.
Alright, so if you are a wannabe Godzilla and want to make your way into the New Zealand market and want to terrorize one of the largest cities of New Zealand, but 14 other Godzillas arrived already and did the exact same thing, and you want a city of your own, well, you need to go to city number 15 on this list. Yes, that's my transition. And that is Whanganui with 48,700 people.
Yes, so Whanganui, it is the city that confuses most tourists because they changed their spelling to WH, which we've all been told is spelt F.
I mean, it's pronounced F.
It's pronounced F. But when you talk to locals, actually, they just all pronounce it Wanganui.
I know, it's very, very confusing.
So here we are on the channel, still pronouncing it 2 different ways because we are still confused. If anybody knows the real answer, please tell us. Is it Whanganui or is it Wanganui?
It's Whanganui. We all know it's Whanganui. It's just the oldies don't want to change their ways.
Okay, so Whanganui, it is known for its the Whanganui River, which goes right through the centre, and it's actually where the Whanganui River terminates, and the river is known for being the longest navigatable river in New Zealand. So that is the main thing. Also, the river is its own identity, is its own living entity. It did have laws changed so people would appreciate that. So yeah, it's a really interesting sort of cultural place to visit and learn, especially about some Maori traditions. Also, in terms of the city itself, it has some really lovely river walks, some beautiful art galleries. There is some interesting water towers that you can go and explore and go up to get some views of the city. The Dury Hill Tower is one of them. And then nearby you do have some beaches. So if you want to take a little bit of a trip out of the city, you can visit some beautiful beaches in the area. Not the warmest swimming you can find, but really some picturesque beaches, that's for sure.
Indeed. All right, so we'll come back in a minute with a honorable mention for a reason. I enjoyed this paddleboarding video right here. I'm kind of like just mesmerized by it.
I was kind of like looking at the water and also how clear the water is. Like despite
you do like that,
I do love that. So despite it actually being right next to a city, which I don't know.
We actually even at some points we passed near the commercial harbour as well.
Yeah, exactly. So you would expect the water to be a lot grimier, as you know, we humans are known for being a bit dirty here and there, but. Yeah, surprisingly, here, a lot of New Zealand a lot of water surrounding New Zealand is beautifully clear.
All right, so a honorable mention as promised, and it's Queenstown, because we know that all of you guys have heard of Queenstown and probably have it on your list. However, it's too small to make it onto the list, so we have to put it as a honorable mention, Because believe it or not, Queenstown is only home to 29,000 people.
Yeah, so Queenstown isn't actually, isn't one of the biggest cities in New Zealand, but people mostly know it because it is like a huge tourist hub. You can do, especially because it's considering it is known as the adventure capital of the world, then you know that you can do whitewater rafting, you can do canyoning, you can do jet boating, bungee jumping, skydiving, and a whole bunch of other stuff you've probably never heard of because there's new adventure activities always being discovered, always being invented, and that's what Queenstown is all about. It's also got some wine tasting here and there, some burger eating, some what else is Queenstown? Just some scenic trips to Milford Sound. If you will never get bored in Queenstown. There is so much to do there. On the downside, it is also because it is like a kind of tourist resort town. That means that you won't find the cheapest activities here. So usually staying here a while means that it will put a hole in your pocket, but that is Queenstown.
That's the price of traveling, isn't it?
That's the price of traveling.
All right, cool. So that wraps up this video about the biggest cities of New Zealand. I hope you enjoy watching us paddleboard and just give you a bit of a run through about the largest cities in the country. If you found that useful, like, subscribe, join us on Patreon if you want us to actually help you plan your trip to New Zealand. And there's a link to a full transcript of this video in the description. So check it out, click on there, and start planning. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
We're going to say Morena to Matua X before we leave.
Yes, Morena.
Matua X, happy to have you on board today. We're going to quickly wrap, shortly. Oh, there's a guy rowing. Interesting. We're going to wrap up this show because, well, there is no question hanging about. So we'll just relax
we'll
a bit.
not hang about either.
Yeah, we'll be back in about 15 for the Patreon show, which is going to be quite fun. In the meantime, we wish you all a lovely Sunday. Bye-bye.
See ya.